Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather, in which the Peel District School Board and the Woodlands School operates, is part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, we give our respect to its first inhabitants. We will be sharing a lot of info with you today, and if you think of a question as we go, please go ahead and type it in the chat. We will answer questions at the end of the session. And a reminder that this presentation will be recorded and posted to the Student Services site. Hello, everybody. I'm Ms. Lagudis, and we may have met before, as I've already worked with a number of you. I was the guidance counselor for everybody with the last names E to M. And I just wanted to take a moment and let you know, because Ms. Figliota is going to be away on her maternity leave, I will now also be helping students that were in her alpha, students with the last names A to D. So I look forward to meeting you all and working with you this year. And I wanted to let you know a few of the other things that I help out with here in the guidance department. Some of the areas that I focus on are scholarships. I know you still have a little while to go by the time you're ready for scholarships because you're in grade 9 still. And also the dual credit program, which is a series of free college courses that we offer when you're in your grade 11 and 12 year. And I work closely also with Ms. Orr, and I'm still in contact with Ms. Figliota. There are a lot of things that we would like to share with you today, and so I will pass it on to Ms. Orr to introduce herself as well. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so I'm Ms. Orr. So as Ms. Lagudis said, we're shifting the alpha a little bit for the rest of the school year. So now if you have the last names M through Z, I will be your guidance counselor. And I'm here to help you with anything to do with course selection, of course, volunteering, even post-secondary planning. If you're starting to look into the future and what it is that you may want to do, I'm happy to help you with all of that. We also run our peer mentorship and tutoring program. So if you feel like you need a little extra tutoring support or mentoring, please contact me. If you want to be a mentor or a peer tutor, you can also contact me and I will get you enrolled in that program. Also, if you're interested in participating in the Duke of Edinburgh Award, again, I can help you with that registration, which is a great award that there's 3 levels, there's bronze, silvers, and gold, and you can do it all the way from grade 9 to grade 12 and beyond. And there's some great work that program is doing as well. So without further ado, we are going to start working on this presentation and what it is that we would like to share with you today. So as many of you know, we have so many clubs and teams and things going on within the building. Up on the Student Services site, we have all of our club information as well. So if you're interested in joining a club, a team, getting involved within the school community, it's a great place for you to start. As you can see, we have everything from drama to art club, game club, math club, DECA, prefects, woodshop club, tons of stuff going on all the time and plenty of ways for you to be involved in the school. So, there we go. So part of what everyone needs to do in order to graduate includes completing your 40 hours of community service, the literacy test that you're going to write next year, and then your 30 credits overall by the time you get to grade 12. But what you need to worry about is the 8 credits that you're working on right now and the 8 credits that you're going to pick for grade 10. One thing we do want to talk to you about really quickly before we get into your course selection is a reminder about your community service hours. all students are expected to complete 40 hours of community service by the time that they graduate. So what does that mean for you? Is that you really want to make sure that you are finding ways to participate within your community to earn those community hours. Because while volunteering is great, not all volunteering work, it can be considered community service. So you really want to make sure that you are going through and you are finding eligible activities that count towards your community service hours. Anything within the building is a great way to have your community service hours count. Anything that is through maybe a religious site, so church, temple, food banks as well, anything, even political events, rallies, canvassing, all of that kind of stuff counts towards community service. So you really want to make sure that, one, you're not doing something that you should be getting paid for. Okay, we don't want students to be taken advantage of by places that are saying, hey, come earn your community service hours here, and you go and you do oodles and oodles of work for them, and then it doesn't count. Because one, you really should have been getting paid for it, or two, it's great volunteer work, but it's not community service. You want to really keep in the back of your mind, what am I doing to connect directly to my community, and how is this helping my community? If you can't really answer those questions, then it might not be community service. And when in doubt, contact your guidance counselor, because we are definitely happy to help you with that. So some examples that we've given you here are, again, working with your food bank, working at any non-for-profit camps or organizations that actually subsidize their pricing. So that means that, let's say you really wanted to learn how to ski, but those ski lessons are $300. So if you're going to go to a place that, you know, subsidizes those pricing so that they rely on volunteers so that they can maybe only charge $50 for those ski lessons, that's subsidized pricing, which means they rely on volunteers, and so therefore it counts as your community service. You can assist, as I said, with any school events, the peer mentoring and tutoring program that I just talked about earlier, visiting an animal shelter. We have one just around the corner, and they're always looking for someone to come and spend time with the animals that are there, take them for walks, care for them. So it's a great way to do some community service, retirement homes, long-term care facilities, hospitals, and the like. Volunteering, I've given some examples of what's going to be considered volunteering. Again, great experience, great leadership experience that you can talk to, but not necessarily community service. So you're really going to want to make sure that you are keeping that in the back of your mind when you start looking at that.
Okay, how to access My Blueprint. So everybody should be able to, everybody first of all should have access to their My Blueprint account, and you can find it if you search up byod.peelschools.org, and you can search for it right in there by typing in My Blueprint, and it should come up. Okay, and double checking on whether you are on track. You can click on View Progress under the graduation indicator. So by the end of grade 9, you should actually have 8 credits complete. Everybody should have their English or ESL credit, math, science, geography, phys ed, French, or if you're in the ESL program and you did not take French, then your ESL course, plus 2 other elective courses.
So getting started with this. So as I said, you've focusing on the 8 courses that you're taking this year, but you're going to want to start planning those 8 courses that you're taking for next year. So there are some courses that you have to take, and those are your compulsory courses. So that's going to be your English, your math, your science, your Canadian history, and new next year is going to be Discovering the Workplace, which is going to take place and replace civics and careers. So first, what you may notice is that all grade 10 courses, except for science, has been de-streamed. So much like the English and math courses that you're all in this year that are de-streamed, now your Canadian history will also be de-streamed next year. The only one that's not going to be de-streamed is science. So if you are currently in applied science, you will select applied science for grade 10. If you're currently in academic science, then you're going to pick academic science for grade 10. But if you are, now that you're in the de-streamed English in grade 9, you're going to go into the de-streamed English in grade 10, and that course code is going to be the ENG2DO. If you're in the enhanced program, then you are selecting ENG2DE. And so you're going to want to make sure that you're paying really close attention to those course codes. What you're also going to pick is GLD. 200. So normally grade 10 students would pick civics and careers as part of their course selection. What we're going to do is we're rolling that into one course for next year. So you're actually going to pick GLD 200. So now instead of doing 2 courses at 0.5 credit, you're going to do 1 course for 1 credit. And so when you are in My Blueprint and you see the grade 10 next year, you may still see that it says civics and careers. You can just go ahead and ignore that, click on one of them, put in the GLD 200, and then carry on with your course selection. You do need to pick a full 8 courses. So then that means that you're going to have additional elective credits. So that could be art, technology, that could be food, family studies course, that could be anything within that realm. What you want to be careful of is making sure that, one, you have the prerequisite for whatever it is that you're picking, and we're going to talk about that in case you're thinking of fast tracking. And so just please make sure that if you've got any questions that you're asking your guidance counselor, and we can let you know if you're on the right path.
Okay, next we have a list of our optional grade 10 courses. You can see all of the categories here. We have the arts. Students can choose between various drama courses, music, visual art. Business studies, we have introduction to business. We have marketing. We have computer science courses, French, and you can check out the rest of the list there. I don't know if we wanted to review, Ms. Orr, did we want to review about how students can review them? Was there a previous one, or should we just continue?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to review the virtual course fair, but if you want to discuss it, absolutely.
Okay. No, and I was just going to remind everyone that they can review courses both in My Blueprint, and then I guess we will talk a little bit later about the virtual course fair as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So timing. Time does matter when you are submitting your course selections. So we always say sooner rather than later is going to be your best bet when doing this. Your courses, we build the timetable based on the courses that you select. And so in that regard, if all courses are running and everything is great, then your timing doesn't matter too much about when it is that you submit your course selection. But if something happens and 1 or 2 of your courses are added to a wait list, then the timing matters. So when you submit your course selection, that is when you are put into a queue for a wait list for any of the courses that maybe you have a course conflict with. Maybe you are fast tracking it, and so you're put on the wait list. That timing matters. Or as I said, if you've got any kind of course conflicts, rather than the timetable putting both of those courses in there, they add you to a wait list for that, so that Ms. Lagudis and I can actually take a look at your timetable and see what's going on with it. And we actually see when you have submitted your course selection. And so sometimes that timing really does matter when we're building your timetable in the spring. So sooner rather than later for submitting your courses is always best. And making sure that you're leaving time to review, ask your questions. You can do all of that really soon, actually. So you are going to be able to go through your post-secondary builder and actually add all the courses that you want to add. And then on January 10th, when course selection opens, you just log right into My Blueprint and you hit submit, and then you're in, right? So everything can be approved and processed, and then that way you know that you are as early as possible for submitting your course selection. So pathways and course, pathway planning and course selection. So this is something that you are going to get a document really in December that outlines all of this, but we really wanted to touch on some really important points right now. So one, you can modify your course selections, and we're going to go through those important dates a little later in the presentation. So do make sure that you're reviewing all of this. You can only submit once. So if you submit and you've decided that you want to change your mind, you are going to have to email your guidance counselor to request that it be reopened. And remember, that resets your clock. So if you are asking to reopen those course selections, that means that your place in the line in that wait list is no more. Okay, so you're starting from scratch. So really make sure that you have reviewed everything, you've asked your questions. We are here to help you with that so that once you submit, it's in. Okay, and then you are going to be asked to add a parent's email. Make sure that parent email is accurate and a live email, that one that they check quite regularly, because all of the authorizations is then going to be sent to your parent or guardian, and then they're going to click approved, and then that comes to your guidance counselor so that we can approve it. Again, if we have to send all of that back or if we have to chase for that approval, that also impacts your place in that wait list. So when you're looking at your post-secondary planning, I know you're in grade 9 and you're just sitting here going, I don't know what I want to do yet, and that's okay. So you really want to pick your courses with all of that in mind and start asking yourself the question of, what do I enjoy? What am I good at? What am I interested in? And then you make sure that you're picking courses based on that. As I said, for the grade 10, for you guys going into grade 10, civics and careers is no more. You're going to pick that GLD instead. And then also make sure that when you are submitting those courses to My Blueprint, I can't emphasize enough that your parent email is accurate and it's ready to go. You can give your parent or guardian the heads up and say, hey, I'm submitting right now. Are you ready? And then they'll be sent an email for their approval, and then you're all done.
Some important points to remember, and a number of these come up a lot, especially the first one, summer school. If you already know that you're planning to take a particular course in summer school, please do not also include that course in your requested courses for next year. So a lot of students, usually students that are currently in grade 9 thinking about taking careers and civics. I know we've talked about that change in that course, but that is a common one that a lot of students would often take. And sometimes students would also request it for next year. And then what would happen is we wouldn't have really an accurate idea of how many students are really planning to be in it. So we do ask that if you know you're planning to take a course in summer, when summer registration comes up, we will help you with that. And we ask that you just go ahead and put in your alternate course. So what is the course that you would actually like to take in grade 10 instead of the one that you're taking in the summer? Another reminder, if you're in the enhanced learning program, students in the ELP are expected to take the enhanced courses wherever possible, and this is usually the core courses like sciences, math, English, and in some cases a social science. And then finally, if you are a student who has an individual education plan, an IEP, you can select the GLE courses, but you can only select those if you do have an IEP. Okay, and some more important information, fast tracking. We do get a lot of questions on whether students can take a course in a grade ahead of their actual grade, and it is a common question, and we do ask that grade 10 students only select a maximum of one course in grade 11. So there is going to be information sent out to you and your family. What happens is sometimes if students request a number of courses ahead of their grade, it does create some conflicts, and it often will not actually work, and we often can't accommodate it on your timetable due to conflicts with the courses that you actually have to take in your grade. So we will review all the requests. We do definitely try our best to accommodate you know, your goals, and I know you spend a lot of time thinking about your goals, so sometimes it just cannot be guaranteed. And we do want to remind you that priority for these spots in these fast-tracked courses do have to be given to the students who are actually in that grade level. So we do have to make sure that students are meeting their graduation requirements and can get into those courses, especially if they will not have an opportunity next year. So sometimes we do want you to keep in mind that students who fast-track, if we have a situation where we have a student who needs to graduate and who requires that course and is in the actual grade, sometimes we do have to remove some students from courses to make sure that we can best accommodate everybody and make sure everybody gets their required courses. So we ask you to consider a couple of questions. So a couple of considerations before automatically thinking you want to fast track. Sometimes we think, you know, what are my friends doing? I notice a lot of people seem to be fast tracking, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. We ask you to think about, do you feel that you're academically ready to take a course that is a year ahead, you know, a year ahead your grade level? Do you feel emotionally and socially ready to handle the additional stress? Because it can be more demanding when you're taking a course that is a grade ahead. We ask you to think about that. And finally, consider your workload. So how is it going to impact you if you have your regular grade 10 courses and you're also taking on a grade 11 course? So please give some thought to that, and please reach out to us if you have any questions. Thanks.
So some final thoughts to keep in mind when you start your research and start your planning. So as I said, it's an expectation that students and parents will adhere to the policies that we've reviewed. And again, you're going to get a handout that is going to be available in our virtual course fair, which I'm going to talk about in a quick second. But it's also outlined in what it is that we've discussed here, as well as what's going to be sent out to all students and parents as we gear up for course selection. So the problem is if we get your course selection and they're kind of all over the place, and you've maybe picked 3 or 4 or 5 fast track courses that we know are not going to work and aren't part of the school policy, we're going to send that back. Okay, so you don't want your courses to be sent back because you're going to do all of your research, you're going to ask all of your questions well ahead of time. That's why we're doing these assemblies so early, because I know course selection doesn't open until January 10th, but we really wanted to give everyone the time to do their research, to ask their questions, to get everything ready and prepared before heading off into winter break, because it's a really quick turnaround for that once we get back from winter break. So again, if we find that you're not adhering to those policies, guidance counselors are just going to send back your course selections for revision. Once students have selected their course selection, they've submitted their course selections from My Blueprint, you're going to be prompted to send that email to your parents. So really, really important, if you don't do that, if you don't enter your parents' email address or your parents haven't approved it, we as guidance counselors cannot approve your course selection. So if you submit your course selection, first thing January 10th, you're in it and you're done. But let's say we don't see a parent authorization even closer to the end of January, we just keep asking for it to be approved. Guidance counselors cannot approve your course selection, which means we actually go into timetabling without your course selection. So please make sure you're entering a valid email address and you're letting your parents know that it's coming, or your guardian know that it's coming, so that they can approve it right away. Timetable changes are difficult and sometimes they're just not possible, as some of you may know. So you really need to make sure that you are following the timelines that we're going to review in a second. You are going to have an opportunity to change some of your course selections, and these won't impact your queue. They won't impact the time with which you have submitted your course selections. If you request to change your course selection, then that changes your time. But if you're asking for a course change closer to the end of the school year, we can do that right in the system for you, and therefore that doesn't change your time. And then, as always, if you have any questions, your guidance counselor is here to help you. One thing I do want to let everybody know is starting December 1st, we are going to have a virtual course fair. So more information about that is going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, but it's going to be your one-stop shop of all information to do with the courses that we are offering for next year. We are going to have information about not only what happens in the course, but you'll have an opportunity to see videos and pictures about what it is students are actually doing within those individual courses. So it will give you a better idea about what it is that you can expect, because maybe you're really interested in something like transportation technology, but you didn't take any technology courses in grade 9. That's okay. You don't have to. But now you can see what it is that they do in that course. Same thing goes with drama. Maybe you took visual art, but you really want to give drama a go, but you're not really sure what it is that they do. You're going to have a chance to see some of the stuff that goes on in that class. So information about that is going to be coming out shortly, and as I said, it's going to start December 1st. So those important dates: course selection opens January 10th, 2022, and will end February 1st, 2022. Then we are going to have course selection change window open from the 14th to the 18th. And what you're going to do is there's going to be a Google form that goes up onto the Student Services site, and you can fill that out and say, you know what, I really picked this course, but instead I want something different. Can you please make this change? And your guidance counselor will go in and manually make that change. So again, that's fine. We can do that. If between the January 10th window and the January 1st window, you request to make a change, we are just going to send that course selection back to you, which resets your clock. But if you ask for changes after that, then your guidance counselor can make minor changes. We're not changing all of your courses, but let's say you picked the wrong pathway when you came to science. Okay, so you were just like, you know what, I picked applied science, I should have picked academic, can you please change that for me? We're going to do that for you. Or if you picked, you know, transportation technology, but we really wanted work, we're going to make those changes for you, but we are not going to be able to change everything. So you're really, again, it goes back to your research, asking your questions ahead of time. And then the course change request, there's going to be 2 windows. One is going to be at the end of March, and then the other one's going to be at the end of August. So much like this year, right before school started, we said, hey, if you want to change any of your courses for this year, you're going to have a window with which to do that. These are your 2 windows for you to do that for your courses coming up. You're also going to see the important links off to the side. So the course selection information, and yes, this presentation is going up on the Student Services site under course selection information and presentations. So the recording of this presentation is going to go there. The PDF of this presentation is going to go there. So you're going to be able to click on all of these links, and it's going to take you to the documentation that you need. So the course selection information is that 2-page sheet that reviews all of the rules and school policies when it comes to course selection. You also have all of the offered courses in 2022, 2023. So you'll see everything that we are offering for next year. You've also got the Student Services site, which is where everything is posted. You've got also the community service volunteering information, which is on the Student Services site, and then how to submit your community hours. I will correct the spelling of hours. Thank you. There is. Anyway, so that brings us to the question portion of this presentation. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to type it in the Q&A. You can do it individually, or you can ask your classroom teacher to share those questions with us. Ms. Lagudis and I are happy to review any of those right now.
Ms. Orr, I just wanted to address a question that's come up actually a lot recently from some students, and asking, can a grade 10 student take a spare? And this comes up because I know we talked about summer school, and we have a number of grade 9s who do plan to take summer school. And the thinking is that, well, if I took a summer school course, does that cover one of my 8 required courses next year? Does that mean I could just take the 1 summer school course and then take 7 courses in grade 10? And the answer is that if you're still in grade 10, then you are expected to be fully scheduled with a full 8 courses. So even though you go ahead and do summer school, you still have to fill in that space. So if we notice that somebody has a space that needs to be filled, we are going to encourage you to please select an alternate course. So you will end up being a little bit ahead. You'll have an extra course. So at the end of your grade 10 year, instead of having 16 credits, you'll have 17. And then one more question related to that that comes up, and sometimes students say, what happens if I'm in grade 9 and I actually don't complete all of my 8 required courses? Maybe I struggled in something and I didn't earn the credit, and now I maybe have 7 or fewer. And if that happens, it's great to keep in touch with your teachers and your guidance counselor and your family, so we can figure out what we can do to help you get back on track. And likely this will be summer school. So if, for example, if you're missing 1 credit, you've only got 7, but you want to get back on track and you don't want to fall behind for future years, you're probably somebody who could take summer school if you're available in the summer. Summer school has been virtual for the past couple years, so we're not sure. We might be moving to in-person, or whether we'll stay online, we'll see. We'll have more information coming on that, but we can help you register for that so that when you do begin your grade 10 year, you will be back on track with your 8 credits.
Okay, so there's also a question here about what are the benefits of fast tracking. So it's really up to you as an individual about whether or not you want to fast track a course. Many students fast track courses as a means to graduate early. So sometimes it's a question of, I would like to graduate at the end of semester 1, or I would like to graduate at the end of grade 11. So if that's the case, then by all means, you're going to want to fast track taking night school, summer school courses, as well as those reach ahead credits. For other students, it's just more of a preference. So, you know, maybe you want to split up something that's going to be a really heavy science math course load in grade 12. So maybe you're going to take one of those sciences or a math in grade 11. As same thing goes with grade 10, like maybe there's just a few technology or art courses that you really want to take, and there's nothing really in that grade 10 course fair that fits you. And so you want to take one of those courses as that Reach Ahead fast tracking credit. So it really is a personal decision, a family decision, and one with which your guidance counselor can help you with. And we're happy to have that conversation with you to help support that. Can we optionally apply for summer school to learn more, and does it negatively? Okay, so summer school is a great opportunity if there's something that you want to take in a month, right? So it's 25 days of just that course. So maybe you have something that we often recommend doing civics and careers in summer school, so then that frees up a place in your grade 10 course selection for you to take another elective. So maybe there's just so many electives that you want to take and you're just like, okay, you know what, then I'm going to do this in summer school. That doesn't negatively impact you at all. And we often do encourage students to be able to do so, especially if there's just a lot of stuff that you want to take and not enough time with which to take it. The only time that it becomes something that we would caution students about is when you are in grade 11 and grade 12 and you are starting to plan that post-secondary pathway. And let's say you're taking something in a program that really does require maths or sciences or computer science or something along those lines. The universities are not going to want to see you necessarily taking those at a summer school or night school level if they can fit into your regular school schedule. Some universities absolutely do not want to see private school credits. So that's another question that we often get is, you know, I want to take this in private school because I can take it at a time that's, you know, suited to me. And again, that's a personal choice, but we will always caution you against being very aware of your universities or colleges' thoughts and feelings on private school credits. So summer school information tends to come out February, March-ish. So just stay tuned, and if you're considering doing any of it, then we're happy to sit down and review what summer school courses that you can take. Yes, so another question about the My Blueprint and GLD does not appear. It will. So we've just added it a little while ago, and the board is currently updating My Blueprint. So if you are thinking that My Blueprint is just not updating properly or it's being a little wonky, it's because people are in the background working their magic, adding courses, getting everything ready for, because grade 8's going into grade 9, their course selection opens up next week, and then they'll start getting everything ready for secondary students to do their course selection. So it will be there come December mid-ish, but definitely by the time you are going to do your course selection. So that's the only one that you're probably going to want to leave blank for right now. And even if you can't find it, then ask your guidance counselor and we can show you where it's going to be. Night school is it's through continuing education, much like your summer school courses would be, except it's at night, twice a week in the evening, and there's only grade 11 and grade 12 courses. So grade 10 students cannot take night school. Ms. Lagudis, do you see any more questions that you want to cover? I think we've got most of them.
Covered, yep. I think we got them. Night school, yeah, we covered. Yeah, I believe that is all for questions.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, if you are like, hey, I've thought of a question last minute and you didn't get a chance to ask your questions here, you can contact your guidance counselor through 3 ways. So one is guidance on the go. So every Tuesday and Thursday at lunch, one of us is in front of the cafeteria. We've got a cart and a lovely sign that has been painted by one of our students in the art club. And you can come and ask your questions there, especially if they're really super general questions. You don't have to make an appointment. You can just swing on by, and your guidance counselor will be happy to help you. You can also request an appointment using the Google form in the Student Services site. So again, that link that's in this presentation, as well as on all of our social media, is our main bio link, and you can go straight to Student Services site from there. And then of course, we're always available on email. Just please be a little patient if you're emailing us. We do get a large volume of emails depending on the day. And so sometimes it may take us a few hours to get back to you, or the full day, but we do try to get back to people within that day. So good question about summer school courses. Is there a list of summer school courses available? There will be. Again, once we have information for summer school, we will of course post that on the Student Services site, and that will include a list of courses that they offer. And then you can take a gander through that. Okay, well, I think we'll say good day and farewell with that. To all who joined us today, thank you. And if you've got any questions, please contact your guidance counselor and we'd be happy to help. And good luck with your course selection and have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.